Hello everyone, welcome. This is Dina. It is Sunday, the 23rd of April. Just taking a moment to capture my 24 hours of cross stitch. I have not been filming as I go this weekend because I wanted to put all my time on my stitching for the marathon. And I want to share with you what I did. I would like to share it in the order that I worked on it and tell you the goals that I met and the total number of hours that I've stitched thus far. It is Sunday afternoon. It's probably around 5:30 or so. So I very well may get some more hours in, and if I do, I'll come back and I'll update you on that. But it is getting a little bit late in the afternoon, early evening, and I need to take some time out and, exercise someone. So I'm not sure if I'll get much more work done today. But I'm really pleased with what I got done. So buckle up and let's talk about it. The first thing that I worked on, I'm going to have to take a pause and ask my sister to look away yet again because I started this project for my final WhipGo pull for this month. And I'm tickled to death that I got it done before we get the calls for next month, so I can, make plans for that. But Steph, if you'll look away for a moment, I'd like to show everybody the progress I made on my WhipGo new start. I pulled this back out, and I made a goal for myself that I wanted to complete this right here, this motif right here. And I wanted to do that during the marathon stitching. So I'm happy to report that I did. Now I feel like this is going to need some back stitching to further define it. I think the fabric choice that I made, this is too pale a color to stand on its own. It's harder, to see it. And so I want to back stitch that and possibly this over here. But this is finished. So now I have to do the other side. And I'll put that on my plans for the next time or two that I pick this up. But I wound up stitching 563 stitches on that on Friday. And I stitched on it till I finished as much as I could. It was late. I went to bed very late, and it was about 1:45. And I thought I had just a little bit more to do, but it was more than what I could stay up and finish. So on Saturday morning, I spent about 1 hour. It took me 1 hour to finish it up. And I finished that motif that I really, really wanted to finish. So, Saturday morning after I did that hour on this one, Stephanie, you can look back now, I decided I wanted to work on another one of my projects that I am hoping to finish this year, and I really wanted to push it toward a finish for this month, but I think there's still a little too much left to finish it this month. It may have to go into next month, but this is I Am a Needlesmith. And I'll show you what I stitched on it. I actually stitched 461 stitches on this, and I'll show you where they were. They wound up being this whole section over here. It was the fence and all the fill-in grass in that one color, but that's what I got. And I got that part done. So I was really glad to get that big block of color done. The next color, the next row here is the next color down. It's kind of, in rows across here as far as big blocks of color. And then I've got a couple of motifs in here to do. But I decided to try to work my way down from top to bottom. You can see I had outlined that color before, but I didn't have time to fill it in. And but I did get that much more done on it, and I'm happy with that. So that's a good thing. And the next thing I picked up was for my friend that I do the Raggedy Ann things for. And I'll show you the pattern. For the Love of Cross Stitch, it is the January 93 issue, and I'm just doing this portion, the Raggedy Ann doll on the ball. I'm doing that for an ornament for her, hopefully for this Christmas. So I'm doing this on a beautiful Lugana, 32 count Lugana. It's a mushroom with brown spots, and I'll put that folder where it doesn't show through as badly. And this is where she is. Now, I've only backstitched her head, but my goal this weekend was to finish all of the cross stitching. All of it. And I did. Put in 516 stitches to finish her, and I made a decision. I'm not going to stitch the teapot in here. I don't know why there's a teapot there. Maybe that's prominent in the stories. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with them. But I have a bunch of charms, and some of them are Christmas charms. And this is Christmas because the candy came. So I'm thinking I may put a Christmas charm right here in her hand and let her be holding that like a present or a wreath or something. And not stitch that teapot, because I don't know what the significance of the teapot is, but I didn't have those colors pulled when I got started, and I just haven't made myself go pull them. And I think it's because I don't want to stitch it. I don't know why there's a teapot there. It just makes no sense to me that she's playing on a ball, you know, and holding a teapot. So anyway, it just didn't flow for me. But I'm thrilled to death that I got everything finished. Now, these little blobs in here, you might can tell, they are stars. But I've got to backstitch all the way down, and I'm hoping to do that in my next 1 or 2 sessions, however long it takes me to finish this. And this would be the first, once I finish stitching it, then it would be the first Christmas present that I had finished stitching for this year. But I'm really happy about that. 516 stitches, got her done. I'm really pleased with that. Then I had finished my 13th Colony by the Bay Part 1 a while back, and I had decided that I wanted to start Part 2 this weekend. And I'll remind you of what Part 2 looks like. It picks up right where Part 1 leaves off. I mean, they really, truly just butt up against each other. And I got started on it today. So where you see this break right here, that's where the first one stopped. And all of this that you see here is what I stitched today for my new start. And this is 314 stitches for the new start. Now, here's the fun part. I did all of these for 24 hours of cross stitch, trying to get 24 hours in the 3 days. So far, I've gotten 19, so I think that's pretty good. Oh, that's very good. I've had company. My son came over and cooked dinner, and I had to walk Coco and take care of her, and so I've had some things to do that I wouldn't normally have to do by myself if my husband were here, but he's traveling. So I'm really proud of that 19 hours, and I could I could get a few more tonight before the end of the day. So I'll let you know if I do. Great productive weekend. I'm very happy about that. I had several conversations with people over the weekend about my May stitching, what I'm going to do in May, and I wanted to tell you this. I did pick the patterns that I'm going to stitch for my May Mondays, which is my way of doing May Mania kind of stuff. I had 5 Mondays in May, and I have 5, last year I had 5 new starts, 1 each Monday. So when I looked at them this year, I have 3 that I'm still working on, and that is Royal Games, Mr. Mittens, and Autumn in the Country. So I plan on stitching on those on their anniversary Monday, like their birthday Monday. And that leaves the first Monday of the month and the last Monday of the month open for a new start. So the first Monday of the month, my plan is to start this little puppy dog right here, Alphabet Dog. It's by JBW Designs. I've had it for a long time and haven't stitched it, and I think it would be a great start for that first Monday in May. And I might, if I'm lucky enough, I could finish it that week, and then I don't add to my WHIP pile. So that was kind of where I was headed with that. My second pattern is one I just got this year. I actually ordered it from Sherry Berger. She's the Colorado cross stitcher, and this one is called In the Meadow. And you know, it's in the meadow we can build a snowman. And so here is the meadow, and here's the snowman right here. And it has buttons, and I ordered the button pack with it. And here are the buttons. There's your little bird up there, and then here are the Christmas trees that make the forest right there. So I'm hoping that this is just, you know, it's this little bit of words and a snowman, and then a little border. So that I'm hoping I could finish in a week, and I've already got the button pack. So those are my two new starts that I'm going to add to my May Monday, and the other three are WHIPs that I want to continue working on. But I had promised that I would come back and let you know what I had decided to do when I had made that decision, and that's what I'm going to do. So we are getting closer and closer to the retreat in May. It's only a few weeks away now, and so I'm getting excited about that. And before long, I'll be having to pick out what I'm going to take with me to stitch on. So that'll be a conversation for another day. But I hope you've had a great weekend, and I'm wishing you a great week ahead. I have a fairly easy week ahead. It's not too terribly bad, not too terribly busy. Really only about one thing a day where I'm going to have to go do something. So I'm hoping to have a lot of good time with Coco and a lot of good time to stitch. That's my hope anyway. Well, happy stitching, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It is Monday, April 24th, and I'm here to give you an update on what I've been stitching this morning. Well, I didn't make any more hours in my 24 hours of cross stitch yesterday. I did get a total of 19 for the weekend, and I think that is awesome. Well, this morning I decided I needed to check out how I was doing on my prompts. And I had one prompt left in one of my challenges called Collectibles Week. And it was to stitch on something that your grandmother might have actually stitched on, and to tell them why. So I thought about that and decided that my grandmother would have stitched on spring quilt, because it's laid out like a quilt, and she made quilts. So this is what I'm thinking that my grandmother would have stitched on. And that's what I chose to stitch on. So today, I knew that my prompt required either 100 or 200 stitches, whichever one I wanted to work on. I'm taking this off the frame. I didn't even have it off yet. That's how recently I stopped stitching, just a moment ago. So I decided I would start on the first motif or section that I would come to on the quilt, because I knew I wasn't going to stitch the entire thing today. And I went ahead and started on this bottom corner. And as you know, I'm a left-hand top left starter, so I just started on the left over here to do it. This one was too big to try to work on. I wouldn't have looked like I accomplished very much, I don't think. But I wound up putting in 252 stitches in this little square right here. So I've got a good portion of the outer section done, and I am going to stop here and put it away. My goal today is to stitch multiple prompts. I don't have any more meetings today. I hosted a couple of ladies from church here for lunch today, and they've gone. They're both really sweet. Neither of them are stitchers, or they could have been stitching with me all afternoon, but I did want to say hey and spend a little time with them. And so we had lunch today. And now I have some stitching to do. So that's my stitching so far today. I've met one prompt. It finished out the challenge, and it put 252 stitches in my spring quilt. So now I'm going to swap out and see what else I can get done today. Happy stitching, you guys. Well, hello, I'm back again. It is late. It's a little bit after 11, and I just wanted to come and tell you about the rest of my stitching for today. I did have a Zoom call this evening, and I stitched with my friend Donna. Our other people that normally attend that Zoom weren't available for various reasons, so Donna and I stitched for a little while, and about 9 o'clock we said goodnight, and I kept stitching. I hope Donna got some sleep, but anyway, I wanted to finish a project that I was working on. So today I pulled out Kringles. I really wanted to get some of the brickwork for this next row started. And as it turned out, I was able to use this for a prompt in one of my daily 30 challenges because you had to stitch on a piece of the building. Now, I did have to get 300 stitches in it, but doing the brick and mortar, that's easy to do. And so I was able to get 511 stitches done tonight. And I have only one more row of border across here, and that whole section of brick will be finished, and I'll just have these little walls that come down here to do. And so I have called it a finish for now because I've got the prompt. I only needed 300 stitches and I got 511, so I am going to call that a good and put it away for the evening. I'll start on something else hopefully in the morning, but I'm going to call it a night. Coco has come up to get me, and she's being patient enough to let me just tell you about my stitching today before we head down for the evening. So I hope you've had a great day. It's been a lovely start to the week. I'm looking forward to more stitching, hopefully, in the coming week. I have very few meetings where I have to leave the house. In fact, I think tomorrow morning is the only one I have where I have to leave the house this week. So I hope that means good stitching time for me. So we'll see how that goes. I did want to mention, I had said in an earlier segment that that my son was going to come and cook dinner for me and some friends, and he did that Friday night. We wanted Chinese food, and he loves to cook all kinds of food, all different ethnic types of food, and so he put together a tasting menu for me and my friends, and he cooked, I don't even know how many dishes. I would have to stop and count, but I know that he prepared sort of what we would call appetizers. He said that they call them talkers because you're talking and eating them while they cook the rest of your meal. Anyway, for our talkers, we had a pickled bean sprout salad. We had pickled cucumber salad. We had some cooked Japanese sausage. We had Mongolian beef pieces. And then we had, that was the talkers. Then we had several courses in our meal. He would cook a dish and bring it around just enough for us to get a tasting of it. And we had as much as we wanted of it, but it wasn't like a whole meal of that one thing. So he did fried rice and vegetables. He did a tofu dish. He did 2 chicken dishes. One was a chicken satay. I think it had peanut sauce on it. And another one was more of a sesame chicken. Um, he did some Kobe beef. He went to an Asian market and got some, just a tiny bit. And he fixed up just a little bit of Kobe beef with onions. And it was it was all delicious. He made deviled quailed eggs. It was amazing to me, all the different ideas he had and things he had. And then the dessert that he created were two different kinds of little cakes, um, and some raspberry sorbet and a little chocolate cookie that he put together. And I'll put some pictures in right here of the various pieces of our dinner, pieces and parts of our dinner, and let you see those, because they're just beautiful and they were all so good. Um, and then he went home. He cooked us dinner and, told us what everything was, and served us a wonderful meal. Like I said, I don't know how many different courses that he did, but we enjoyed it immensely. It was wonderful fun for me. I am always amazed at how well he cooks, because he just does it from his head. He doesn't necessarily follow many recipes, but it was such a gift. It was such a gift to me, for him to cook for my friends. And I think they enjoyed it quite a bit. So that was fun. Anyway, I had mentioned that. I had forgotten to come back and tell you what a successful dinner I felt like it was. I hope, again, I hope you've had a great start to your week. And I do want to say something here too. I have had some wonderful comments on my last video where I revealed my oops, where I miscounted, and I'm going to have to frog a lot out. I have had a couple of people offer to frog for me, and I'm just going to thank you. Thank you so much. Um, I appreciate it. I'm going to do it. Um, I will, as I told one person, I'll put my big girl panties on and do it. But just the thought that you would offer to do that for somebody, because the stitches aren't quite so emotional for you, um, and because you're just kind enough to do that. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much. One person actually is going to be at the retreat in Fort Lauderdale, Florida in May, and said, if you haven't frogged them by then, bring it and I'll do it for you. Oh, y'all, that was so sweet. So nice. Everybody's been so kind about it. Um, and so empathetic. Thank you for that. You've been there. Some of you have been there, with something that large before. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. Well, I'm going to say goodnight, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It is the 25th of April today, and I am here to tell you just briefly this morning what my WhipGo calls are for the month of May. JC Marie pulled them a little early because of her birthday, but I just got a chance this morning to pull everything out, look at my WhipGo board, grab my new starts that are going to be included in those WhipGo pulls for next month, and I wanted to share them with you. So the numbers were 23 and 25, and as you know, I have two boards, so I'll have two 23s and two 25s. So on my first board, which is my general board, my number 23 is Floral Doodle, and my number 25 is Stitching is My Heart's Desire. As it turns out, both of those are new starts. So first of all, let's look at Floral Doodle. This is my Garon bag that I have Floral Doodle in. Isn't that precious? I love it. You know I had to get this one, right? I've had it a while, but this has been kitted up in here. Now, my floral doodle is, it's an electronic pattern, and so I don't have everything in hand to show you like a cover photo or anything. So I will insert a picture here of the floral doodle, what it looks like. And I will insert a picture here rather than try to hold all these colors up. I don't have a floss box to put them in, so I'll just have them in my bag. But they're beautiful. So I'll put a picture in here to show you the pretty antique ivory cashel linen that I'm going to put it on and the colors that go in it. Isn't that going to be beautiful? So that will be my floral doodle. And I'm going to drop everything in this bag so I don't lose anything. There we go. So it is kitted and it's ready to start. In fact, I kitted it this morning. I had the fabric in there and I had the pattern printed off in color, but I didn't have the DMC pull because I knew I'd have the DMC. So it's ready to go for the month of May. The second new start is a hands-on design. Stitching is my heart's desire. There's the pattern. It has both of these in it, but I'm going to be doing the pillow one first anyway. And this is my fabric choice. And it's my floss that's the called for. This piece of fabric is called Pearl, and it is, I'm not sure if it's a picture of this. Oh, it's a Mystic Stitch. I ordered this through a friend's store, String Theory Needle Arts. That's an online shop, and she's in Atlanta. And I had ordered the fabric from her. So it's a Mystic Stitch fabric. The color is Pearl. It's quite pretty. And I'm going to put it back up so I don't lose any of this. But those are my two new starts getting ready for May. Isn't that exciting? Neither of them are huge projects. They are what I would consider a small and a medium. So there you have it. I'll have everything ready. And this is in one of my Amazon bags, simply because I have run out of bags that are the handmade beautiful bags. So there you have it. Now let's talk about the second WhipGo board. My second WhipGo board is my holiday themed one, and this is 23 and 25 on there is Halloween Trio, which are my 3 Mill Hill kits that I'm doing on a piece of fabric side by side to make it look like a street on Halloween, and Autumn in the Country. And that's interesting because Autumn in the Country was one of the ones I started in May Monday last year, and I will be stitching on it on the 23rd of May on its anniversary date anyway. So when I stitch on it on the 23rd, I have to do 5 hours and I'll hit my WhipGo goal. So isn't that exciting that it'll work out that way? I'm pretty happy about that. That's good. Well, I'm going to head off. I have Bible study this morning at church, and so I'm going to leave here now and get that done. And it's our final one on this book, and so I want to definitely be there for that. Wrap it all up. And then when I get home this afternoon, after taking someone special out for a little adventure, then I don't dare say the word, you know. Then I will be able to stitch the rest of the day, and that's good because I really, really want to get one of my prompts met today. So I'll get busy to do that, and I will talk to you hopefully later today. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina again. It is still the 25th of April and I am thrilled to be able to come back and give you my update today. I had mentioned earlier that I had just about 3 or 4 prompts left for the month and for the challenge that had been posted last Friday. And my plan was to get those prompts done first, and then if I could, I wanted to attack the frogging that I have to do on Let Love Rain so that I know the next time I pick it up, it'll be ready to go. So I got really busy and I've already shared the first prompt that I got this morning with you. So I got busy this afternoon and I picked up my Welcoming Christmas. This Welcoming Christmas I was using in an unusual way. I actually needed the letter G for my Easter egg acrostic in the Daily 30 group. And I had to have 300 stitches in it. So I'm doing this to show you the pattern is here. I'm trying to cover that up. But if you can read that, it says that the designer is Sandy Gore Evans. And the G in Gore is part of the designer's name, is one of the qualifiers that we can use to pick a project for the Daily 30 group. The designer's name is good for that. So Sandy Gore Evans gives me the G because it is actually printed there as her full name. And so that was the G in my acrostic. So I decided to work on it. I picked it up. When I started it, I had one color left in that sheep in the hind quarter toward the bottom there where the leg is. I had a color there to do, and then I had the legs to do. And as you can see, I even went down and I started on the first spot on the cow. But before I did that, I backstitched all the dark black and gray parts of the sheep because I had black on my needle. And then when I finished backstitching, that's when I went down and did the spot for on the cow's back just to run out that piece of thread, you know. So when you put all that together, I stitched 324 stitches, and I had to have 300 for that acrostic. All of those letters are 300. This finishes my Easter egg acrostic for the Daily 30 group. That's the monthly challenge, and I finished it today. I was so excited, y'all. So then I also had planned on using this same project for the letter U in the 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic in the word spur of moment. So the U in spur, I was using this for the animals being under each other. And 24 hours of cross stitch and the magazine monthly challenge are much more flexible, really, of how you meet the prompts. They don't have a list of acceptable, you know, ways to meet the prompts. You can really get creative, which is great. So I went ahead and I posted in my 24 hours of cross stitch and realized that I only have one letter left to finish that acrostic. And that letter is T, and I have in my notes that I was using that for Trio, Halloween Trio, which is my 3 Mill Hill Halloween pieces. And I've started on the first one, which is Haunted Mansion, and so I need to pick it up and put some stitches in it. And that'll finish my 24 hours of cross stitch. I will tell you, I'm going to try to get that done by tomorrow, either partially tonight and finish it in the morning, or get it done tomorrow, depending on, you know, what time I get started stitching. But as I was posting this, to show, you have to show how you qualify your piece in the Daily 30 group. You have to show a picture of it. So if you're using the designer's name, many times you have to put a picture of the design cover page that has the artist's name, the designer's name on it. So that's why I showed you. This is what I did to show that Sandy Gore Evans was the designer. But as I was looking at this, I realized something else. This says that the needlework adaptation was done by Mike Vickery. Vickery. There's a V there. Well, in my magazine monthly challenge, I had one letter left in the acrostic of shelves, and that was V. So when I saw this, I thought, wait a minute, I have a V here. I can make use of this. So I went in my monthly magazine acrostic and I edited it to take out the vegetation at Hawk Run Hollow, and I put in the needlework adaptation by Mike Vickery, and I went ahead and used this in my magazine monthly challenge group and counted that 324 stitches in that group as well. So that means I got 3 prompts with this today. Hadn't intended to, but when I saw that name, it just hit me. You know, I had no idea. I hadn't seen it before, and so I just loved it. It worked out beautifully. So that means my magazine monthly challenge acrostic of shelves is now complete. So that's 2 monthly acrostics that I have finished. I have 1 letter left in the 24 hours across stitch acrostic. I am thrilled. I'm really thrilled. So I'm going to put all this away now that I have posted in the Facebook groups, you know, and to show meeting those prompts. And looking back now, I have that 1 letter in 24 hours across stitch. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, my plan is to get that Haunted Mansion worked on for the Halloween trio, to get the T and finish out my final acrostic for the month, so that I can pull out my Let Love Rain and frog it. And that way, if I'm frogging it after I've met all these prompts, I don't feel like I'm taking time away from forward movement. You know, I'm not taking time away from stitching for another prompt. And so I want to get it done. I want to get that ready so the next time I pick it up, I can stitch on it. And I want to thank a viewer, a commenter today, who actually said, you ought to make another working copy of your Let Love Rain on those pages that you've stitched the border that you're ripping out, because the border's not symmetrical and you really need to follow it and mark the stitches as you go. And since I've already marked them halfway around and they're not going to be stitched anymore, I thought that was a great idea. I'll go back. The only thing marked on those pages is the border, you know, where I was stitching, trying to make sure it met up. So I'll just go and make another working copy of the pages that I don't have other stitching on. And that way I can much more easily keep up with where I'm at. I can remark it as I go on a fresh, clean copy. So thank you for that. That was a wonderful suggestion. I'm going to implement that when I start stitching on it again. Tomorrow, other than taking little Miss Coco on her excursions, I'll be here stitching. I get a full day to stitch. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Wish you good night and happy stitching. Good morning, everyone. It is April 26th. It's Wednesday. And today I'm working on a prompt. I'm working on my Halloween trio, which are 3 Mill Hill buttons and beads patterns. And the first one in my little series is Haunted Mansion. I needed this for a prompt, and it's my last prompt until Friday when we get a new challenge. And then I'm gonna frog. I'm gonna get that frog in today. Well, let me show you what I've got done on it. you won't be able to tell a big difference because I only put in 117 stitches today. But let me move my stand. Hold on a second. It's in the way there. This is fairly long. What I did was basically fill in a lot more in the front of this house. There are beads everywhere. And so I'm having to work around and leave holes for those beads. And I'm trying to decide if I want to go back to the top and start putting in the beads as I go. I've never done that before, but since this is on a roller frame, it might work, you know, to do that. It just might work. So I'm thinking about it because I'm having to leave so much blank, and then I'll want to bead it anyway before I go to the next one because all the beads are in the packs. And so I've got 3 separate Mill Hill kits, and that's going to get unwieldy if I'm trying to bead 3 different projects at the same time. So only 117 stitches, but this is for 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic, and I'm allowed to do whatever number of stitches I want. And so I had decided that I was just going to do 100 today. 117 ran out the color of my thread, so that worked out really well. So a little bit more on the house, and I'll put it away for this time, and I'll get busy frogging. I hope to get the stitch a little bit more later if I get the frogging accomplished, and if I do, I will certainly keep you posted. Happy stitching, everybody. Okay, today I did what I had hoped I would get to do. I pulled out my Let Love Rain that had been in timeout, and I frogged it. 761 stitches, or thereabouts, because I went back and figured out where I went wrong, and this was stitched all the way down to the bottom, and now it's there waiting on the next arch. The difference is now it's ready to be stitched on again. Don't know that I'll do that right away, but at least now when I put it away, it's ready. The error is not going to be staring me in the face. It took a little while. Silk, you can't frog it and reuse it, so, but I still didn't want to risk slicing my fabric. So I took my little tiny seam ripper. I have a real small one. And I used it to pull the threads out with. I turned it upside down where the cutting edge wasn't there. It was just a nice rounded edge. And I pulled my threads out as long as I could till I got a little bit of a length on it. And then I just flipped the thing over and sliced through the thread and moved the thread to the side and turned it back over and pulled out more, you know, stitches. And I actually got in a rhythm. I learned that if I turned the point a certain way on the top stitch and then turned it the opposite direction on the bottom stitch and just pulled it up sort of in the direction that it was stitched, they came out without pulling on my fabric. It seemed to go, and I could just kind of get in a rhythm and do that, and I could get a pretty nice length of thread before I felt like I had to cut it. Once I had to start pulling hard to get it to pull all the way through, I didn't want to do that anymore. But I am thrilled to report that I didn't cut my fabric. I didn't make a hole in my fabric. I didn't pick my fabric. So I took my time. I did it nice and slow, and I got it done. So that part is over. We can close the chapter on that book. So anyway, happy to have that done. I feel accomplished, and I feel ready to start on it the next time that it comes up in my rotation. So I'll look for an opportunity probably to use it for a prompt just to make me pick it back up. That seems to be a good motivator for me. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I know so many of you were so kind to share your empathy for me. You've been there, done that. Maybe not on that large a scale, but you have. Some of you had done it on a large scale like I did. You don't catch your error till, way on down the road. So I appreciate all the support. I really do. Thank you for that. And now I'm going to see what else I want to stitch on. Happy stitching, everybody. Well, I guess third time's the charm, right? Third time I've seen you today. I'm so excited. I was able to finish another prompt this evening. Coco just rang the bell. She's ready to go to bed. I've already taken her outside, so that's not the problem. She just wants to go night-night. So I think I'll do this little segment with you, and then I'll take her to bed. I pulled out my gold collection Christmas Village ornaments to work on this for a prompt to work on my smallest whip. Because even though this is full coverage in size, it's probably my smallest whip I'm working on. So I'll remind you, I'm working on this one. Has the little family down there, husband, wife, a little boy, and a dog. And I felt like that reminded me of my family, so that's why I picked that one next. And tonight, I could stitch either 200 stitches or 300 stitches. And I was working toward 300, but I got to 266 and I ran out of my strand of floss, and I thought, you know what? It's late. It's time to go to bed. I've got enough for one of the prompts, the lower end of the prompt, but either way, it's okay. So let me show you what I did. I decided to stop there for the night. And I have worked this sky all the way down. I've started the tree all the way down and have come in here and put another 2 rows in the rooftop, and I've started working around the framing of that front of the church there. So again, I'm just trying to work my way slowly down as I go. I will probably work down into here until I get the first stitch next to a person, and then I would like to go ahead and stitch the 3 people and the puppy dog so that they are prominently displayed and I don't accidentally miss a stitch somewhere and wind up having a person that doesn't look right. So that I'm hoping to get to do maybe on my next stitching session on it. It was for a prompt, and that prompt has been met, and so I am pretty happy about that. I will be putting my kit floss away. I've got them on my thread drops. I made thread drops out of cardstock that were Christmas cardstock, because this is a Christmas piece. And I have 3 small rings that keep you can see they're all different Christmas motifs. But I have 3 of these collection here of colors. There's lots of colors, but they're for all 6 of these. So I have quite a number of threads, as you can see. So try to keep them as straight as I can. But I'll be putting these back away until the next time I bring it out. I've had a great day of stitching today. Thanks for letting me share it with you. I knew I was going to have opportunities today to stitch simply because I didn't have any meetings to go to. But I had no idea it was going to rain all day long. And so that meant I had to play more. And that also meant that I decided that Coco could, since she was going to stay in all day, should be nice and clean, so I gave her a bath today. And she enjoyed it, I think. She jumped right in the tub for me, which is wonderful. So I'm keeping my vintage ornaments in this beautiful Christmas bag that was made for me by my friend Jan at Coco. She doesn't do floss tube, but I sure do appreciate what a sweet gift this was to me, and she still stitches beautifully, and I think she's very active on Facebook, so you could find her there. Maybe Instagram, I'm not sure. But I'm going to call it a day, and I will pick it back up in the morning. I have a great day tomorrow. I'll go ahead and tell you my plans. I am stitching tomorrow virtually with my friend Glow in the morning, and we have a new start. And then I will be stitching later in the day with two friends that I met, one of them at a retreat and the other one I met online, and we started stitching together virtually once a month. And tomorrow I get to see them and stitch with them. So in the morning I'll have a new start with my friend Glow. And then in the afternoon, my plan is to maybe lay a little more brick and mortar into Kringles. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, everybody, good night. And I hope you have a great day of stitching tomorrow. Hi everyone, this is Dina. Good morning. It's good to see you. I have a message for you, and then I have stitching to share with you. The message is this. If you have received a response to a comment that you've made on my videos from a Dr. Johnson, I don't know who it is. It's somebody trying to, I guess, make contacts with people. I think it's got to be a scam of some sort. But I was telling my friend Glow about it this morning, and she went on Google and helped me figure out what to do about it, and we blocked him. So nobody else should be getting any future comments from whoever that is. I erased as many as I could at the moment, and I reported it to YouTube, so hopefully that will take care of it. But if you get a comment from anybody by the name of, I think it's Dr. Christopher Johnson or something like that, it's not from me, it's not anybody I know, and feel free to go into your computer and block him as well if you want to. But anyway, that's my public service announcement. So today I actually got to stitch with my friend Glow, as I was talking about just then, and we had decided to have a new start together today, so we would have two projects that we could stitch on together each week, and we could just rotate between the two until we decide another one that we want to start. Our goal, I think, is to maybe get up to 4 so that we would have a different one each week of the month that we talk. But today we started this beautiful Scarlet house, and this is a sampler for all seasons. This was something that we got in a special release, and my friend Mary notified my friend Donna and I about it, and we were able to go in there and order ours. I told Glow and she ordered hers, so she and I went ahead and got it started this morning, and I am so tickled with it. It's beautiful. I ordered the kit, and it was one of those where you could pick Aida or even weave or linen. And I try not to stitch on linen unless I have to, because I don't like the slubs and the unevenness of it. And the Aida, the color on the Aida just looks so beautiful, and the color on the even weave was a bit lighter than I wanted. So mine is the Aida. It's 16 count Aida, and I'll show you where I got to. Isn't that a beautiful color? It's actually a fox and rabbit, and it's called Steinbeck. So this is what it looks like on Aida, y'all. It's just gorgeous. And it's looking really pretty with the colors. So I'm a top left starter, so I started in the top left, and I did the border around the very first corner that has a scene in it, and then I started working on the snow at the bottom. And I actually got in 458 stitches in this today, not while we were talking. We don't talk that long, but I kept stitching on it afterwards because I was just enjoying it so very much. So very much. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm looking forward to continuing working on that soon. I'll put it on as a prompt or something so I get to do that. So now I have an update for you. I have heard from my son this morning, and they finished their day really early today, and they don't have enough for him to work tomorrow. They had asked him to work extra, and now they don't need him. So the good news is he can come on up to see me. He was going to come visit me for the weekend, and so he's coming on up here in a minute. So I'm postponing my lunch, and I'm going to wait and have lunch with him when he gets here in a few minutes. And I don't know what we'll do. Probably go out and eat or something. And then I'm going to be talking to my friend Marissa, and we're going to catch up. And so today has been a red letter day because I talked to Glow. And then I kept stitching on this while I talked to my friends Mary and Joanne. We stitch together once a month. And I did that. And then I heard some additional news I'm about to share with you. And so we got off the phone so I could get ready. And now I hope to get to have lunch with my son and then talk to Marissa. And then my son and I will have the evening to share together. So the extra news I have to tell you about is that my husband's coming home. Don't worry, nothing's wrong as far as nobody got hurt or anything. They've been gone about 2 weeks, and they came out of off the trail to reposition their vehicles and resupply their packs today, which was the plan. But it was my husband's hiking buddy's truck that they were resupplying out of this time instead of my husband's, and his truck would not start. They could resupply their pack, but then they couldn't drive the truck for the next leg to get them where they needed to go to either the next time they come out or whatever. They had no way to get anywhere. And my husband was not comfortable going back in the woods and on the trail, not having a vehicle that they could get to or go anywhere with. He felt very uncomfortable with that. The battery was dead, and the man who owns the truck said it has a special electronic system on it, and he doesn't want just anybody looking at it and playing with it, so he would rather bring it home and get it fixed with his own mechanic. And my husband understands that completely, of course. And so they actually flagged down a stranger off the street, a nearby road, and he had jumper cables, and they jumped him off. And so they were able to get to my husband's truck, and my husband just called me and said, we're headed home. So they're cutting their hike short by a week. And that's okay. I mean, they don't have a deadline other than one they set for themselves. And but they've had a great week of hiking. They've hiked through the state of New York, and he said it was a tough hike. He said very tough hike. He said there were some flats along the way, but there were hikes where they were actually climbing over rocks, hand over hand, climbing over the rocks to get where they needed to be. So it's, I don't think that either of them are horribly sad that they're coming home early. Anyway, so they are already on the road, and my husband said they're going to drive about 8 hours tonight, stop, get some sleep. My husband always likes to stop the night before. He likes to shower and shave. I don't know, but I love it that he wants to come home looking, clean and handsome for me. That just makes my heart go pitter patter. So they'll be home tomorrow at some point. So I called my son and I said, there's been a change of plans. I want to let you know. Doesn't have to change your plans at all, but Dad's coming home, and I know you were coming to stay with me because you thought I was going to be by myself, but we would love for you to come anyway and spend the weekend. And he said he would. So I'm excited about that. So I'm going to have both of my men home this weekend, my son and my hubby, and I'm excited about that. I had already made a couple of plans to stitch with a group on Saturday, and then like Marissa today, and I'm going to keep those, and I'm not going to back out of those because the guys will be here all weekend, and that's okay. But I just wanted to tell you, I'm excited. I have missed my hubby. Coco has missed my hubby. I can't even tell her he's coming home tomorrow. She wouldn't leave that window for 2 days if I did that. I did tell her her Bubba was coming. She's already sitting in there waiting on him. So he should be here any minute. So I'm going to wrap it up real quick here. I don't know how much I'll get to record over the weekend, but even if I save it all up and catch you up, you'll understand. I know you will, but happy stitching, everybody. Hello everyone, welcome back. It is April 29th. We are one day away from the end of the month. I am so delighted. Today I got to stitch with a Zoom group from the Magazine Monthly Challenge group. Carolyn Zook hosted us all. Robin was there, and several other people that are members of that group were able to join in, and we stitched together and talked about things, especially about May plans. What are people doing for May Mania or Monogamous May or whatever they're doing for May, and visited with each other about that. So it was great fun, and while I was talking with everybody and listening, I was working on Kringles. I had finished my floor that was to end up in April with this room finished. I had finished that, and I wanted to get a little prep work done for the next row. And because they're so stitch heavy, I guess, I wanted to get the brick wall done. It's the same as the brick wall up here. Up here you have this huge roof, and then you have this brick wall. And then here you have this big banner of a greenery, and then you have that same brick wall that comes around. Then here you're going to have the name of the store with the snowflakes on each end, and then you have these walls. So there's a lot of framing that goes on into these rooms. So I decided I wanted to get some bricks laid in here to try to help me get ready. And I originally thought I'll get at least the first room surrounded with bricks so that when it comes to May, all I have to do is stitch the inside of the room and I will have met my goal. But as you might guess, when you're doing brick like that, I did mine mortar first, because that you have to follow the pattern for. And then when you get ready to do the bricks, you just fill in the pattern for the mortar. So I got busy, started yesterday. It was a new challenge in the Daily 30 group, and I used that Kringles to meet a prompt, and it was to stitch on a whip that you felt was exciting. And I indicate, you have to tell why you think it's exciting. And I said, I thought it was exciting because to have a toy store that large for children to go shopping in at Christmas would be very exciting. And that I was excited also because I was getting to stitch ahead. I'm tightening my scroll rod, sorry. And that was exciting too. So it met the level of excitement on two different ways. So I met that prompt, and then I had a coupon, which I applied to the second prompt because I didn't really want to work on something that has an object surrounding another object. That was a little complicated for me for the whips that I have right now. So I went on down to the third prompt, and it was a whip that has something man-made connected to something else man-made. And so I thought, well, you know what? I'm still going to work on these bricks. And in the top row, I have a train here. So I said the train cars are connected to the next train car, which they are, and they're all man-made. So I used it for that prompt. And I stitched 478 stitches for that prompt. That was yesterday. Then I decided to go on for the next prompt, which was to whip of your choice and name your favorite comic strip. And so I chose my Kringles again, and I kept working on the brick. And then the very last prompt was to stitch on a whip that contained a blend of some sort. Well, as it turns out, Kringle uses a blend of DMC 422 and a Versoix size 4 number 128 for one of its symbols. And so it met that too. It was also used a blend. So I stitched another 408 stitches to get that prompt because the top level of all those was 400. And so all total between just yesterday, I stitched 1,289 stitches on Kringles, laying brick. So today when I got on the Zoom call, I knew I wanted to try my best to finish laying all the brick for that floor. And I stitched on it while we were talking. And then I continued stitching on it after my iPad died. Fortunately, people were starting to say they were having to go. The time was there for us to say goodbye. And before I could even say goodbye, I started to wave to let everybody know bye. And before I could even get the word out of my mouth, my iPad died. So anyway, I had it plugged in, but it wasn't charging. I don't know why. So I've checked my cord, and I'm going to see if it's doing any better now. Yes, it's charging now. So anyway, there you go. So what I have to show you now is my Kringles with the brick complete. I'm excited. I'm so very excited. So you can see I finished that top floor, and now I have finished all the brick for the next floor. So those 3 little windows go in here, and then there's the Kringle sign here, and then you have the bottom portion of the building is not surrounded by brick the way the top is, if you can tell. Looks like display windows or something. So I finished laying brick for the whole piece. That's pretty exciting. So here's what I'm thinking now. When I start in May, I will start the first room. I will stitch the inside of that room, depending if I have time. I would like to start this sign too, and at least complete it equal to that room, so that the room includes that portion of the sign. And then in June I would do the same thing, and in July I would finish up. So by July I would be through all the way down here. And then this spot could be August, and this could be September, and this could be October. And then that leaves me November if I have anything I have to finish up. If I've, had a glitch in my schedule and couldn't finish something on time, then I have that month to catch it up, stitch it, do it, and hopefully get it framed for Christmas. By that time of the year, sometimes it can take weeks to get things back. So the soonest I can finish this, the better. So I would really like to be able to finish it by the end of October if I can. But let me tell you, that is a lot of stitching in here. A lot of stitching. The rooms are confetti heavy. So they have less stitching, but you have to change colors all the time. And so they take time. They take as much time. And then this will be solid, but there's just a lot of stitches there. So it's not a hard piece. It's just a lot of stitching in it. But I love it. I really do love it. So that's my Kringles. Give you one last look at where I'm going to be starting from now in May. I'm so tickled, really tickled, that I was able to use Kringles for every single prompt that I stitched for in that new challenge. That challenge just came out yesterday, and I didn't count the stitches from Thursday for any of my challenges, but I started yesterday on Friday when the challenge came out, and I counted them all and finished them up today. So great accomplishment. But I sure hope you're having a great weekend. Happy stitching, everybody. We're having a walkabout. And Coco is checking out the yards along the way, seeing what new smells might be there. She's very busy. We're doing this in almost every other yard. Here we are at Bailey and Chloe's house. And Coco is trying so hard to see if she can find them. They're inside. She'll figure that out. There she goes. They're not out there. One more last longing look. There's just got to be the deer in here, because she can smell where they're going in. Maybe it's in here. Yeah, it might be, baby. She would love to see them. I don't know what she'd do. I'm afraid she might chase them. You ready to go, Coco? Let's walk. Good girl. Okay. She sees our neighbors walking up the street. She likes them both.